saw here in in Portugal, and I've got an interesting challenge for us all this evening when it comes to the dinosaur. Right, let me just mute up. Yeah, I'm going to just mute your mic there for a moment, Astrid. Just make sure we're going through, coming through on YouTube. There we go. We are excellent. Okay, coming through on YouTube. I'll change my backdrop in a minute as well. Astrid, if I could invite you to come onto the screen and let us know a little bit about the premium lounges upcoming.
Thank you, Carl. Yes, so I'm actually very excited about this because I don't think anybody else is doing it. So it's going to set us apart from all the other help you move to Portugal sites out there. But what we're going to be doing is every second week, so toggling with this session with the Dream Team, is we're going to be having the Premium Members Lounge. Which is going to be an opportunity for you, the audience, to speak to us. We want to know exactly where you're at with your journey, what you're enjoying. Have you been to an amazing restaurant lately? What about entertainment? What can you do here? Where do you live? Where are you originally from? Maybe there's someone else in this audience that lives just around the corner. Maybe you can connect and make new friends and really get involved in what we call our thriving community. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But yes, as I said before, the spotlight will be on the audience. So we can't wait.
Wonderful stuff. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. That's you we're talking about here in our premium membership. So thanks very much, Astrid, for that. Let me share some news with you. And it looks this evening like it's going to be me and you talking, Nunu, and you're going to be representing the whole Dream Team this evening so far.
Okay.
I'm sure you're not fazed by that one little bit. So we'll come back to you in just a moment. It'd be wonderful to have somebody from Spartan FX with the volatility in currency at the moment. Let's just see how things shape up for the rest of this evening. A little bit of news for you and that message from Gilda as well. Yeah, a little April Fool. I don't know if you spotted it that I was involved with earlier on this week. I wrote something actually, and let me bring it onto the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. I wrote something about a new Portuguese political party called the Portuguese Positivity Party. Some people realized that was a joke straight away. That there was never going to be such thing as the Portuguese Positivity Party, not in the Parliament at least. And it was a little bit misleading. It should have been published on April the 1st, which was the giveaway in the Portugal Resident, but you might have seen it. One of the things that the party leaders, Filipe Feliz and Beatriz Vida, came up with in response to the recent EU survival kit with a shortwave radio and random things like that is here in Portugal. This is how they envisaged a 3-day survival kit, a fully charged phone, a Pimba playlist downloaded, of course, from the internet, bread, cured meat and cheese, and wine, lots of wine. And they urged you there to vote for the Portuguese Positivity Party. Read more about that. It was a joke, just in case anyone was left in any doubt. Some people did get very excited about the Portuguese Positivity Party and some of their plans, including pushing back against Comporta becoming Trumporta and Moscatel wine becoming Muscatel, Elon Muscatel wine. The Portuguese Positivity Party weren't having any of that whatsoever on the 1st of April. Right, also, a new dinosaur has been discovered. It's not an old British expat down in the Algarve. No, this is a new species of, I don't know, maybe I need you to help me say this, Nunu, an iguanodontian dinosaur, which inhabited Portugal almost 150 million years ago, has been discovered by researchers from the Faculty of Science and Technology of the Universidade Nova de Lisboa. So Nova University have come up with this, and I think this is a visualization of the said dinosaur. I'm inviting you tonight, Expats Portugal community. What should we call this dinosaur? Because they haven't given it a name yet. I don't think they found out enough about it. You might want to just have a little look at its shape there. It looks like one of those, more of the vegetarian end than the carnivorous, or it might be, it might be a bit of both. It might be an omnivore. What if we were able to name it on behalf of the expat community here in Portugal and give that name to Nova University in Lisboa? What do you think it should be? Right. Those are my news snippets. Apart from this news from Gilda now, from Canada, as I said, I need to do some advanced sharing and a video file here. from Gilda, which I thought I'd downloaded. I might have to come back to this. Whilst I'm finding that, Nuno, can you please tell me what's going on in the world of insurance and in Portugal from your point of view? I think you had quite an interesting weekend.
Okay, so in the world of insurance, we are assisting to no restriction regarding weather changes. So strong winds,
Yeah.
earthquakes, fires. So there are no risk aggravation from the insurance perspective. The insurance premiums keep being pretty much the same. On the healthcare field, we are assisting to some moves or movements, so two of the main groups in Portugal that economic groups that also have insurers are planning to have their own hospitals. And
Oh,
this
really?
way, yeah. And Trofa Saúde and AGAs is the one that runs Medis.
Okay.
To try to contain the increment that the healthcare that we are experience with the healthcare costs. But this is not so. This is something that will take time, some years.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to have this sense of putting all together to keep providing good coverages, good assistance, limits, and control the costs.
Is this an unusual thing, or is it quite a common thing in Europe that an insurance company would be creating its own hospital?
So Fidelidade, that runs also the Multicare,
Yeah.
is the health insurance of Fidelidade. They bought some hospitals. I think that is Luz or Lusíadas is one of the two, and they somehow they intend to also to control the healthcare costs and keep all together on the same ecosystem.
Yes.
Nevertheless, even multi-care, they also are increasing the insurance premium. So it's not something that they can control until now, but it's at least is a good indicator to the market.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And yes, a new, as you mentioned, a new storm is coming in. Nuria is coming into Portugal, isn't it? So
Sure.
bated breath with storm damage. Make sure if you're in any doubt about your coverage or if you want coverage for your home here in Portugal, reach out to the Winsurance team. Anything else, Nuno? As an excellent leader of insurance, I think you and your team had a wonderful weekend of team building, did you not, just recently?
Yeah, it was a high risk meeting.
Well, you're in the insurance business. What were you thinking?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I planned this meeting uh, based on the development of each person.
Yeah.
So we talk zero about insurance. We talk zero about numbers, about business. So when it was about individual growth and also about group growth. And
Brilliant.
this is why the theme of the meetup was the tribe, insurance tribe, and I don't know, I don't remember how to say this in Portuguese, but we have the butterfly as the animal,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
representing
Yes.
passing from caterpillar,
Yeah.
passing through the cocoon phase, the transformation phase, and then flourish and blossoming as a
Amazing.
beautiful butterfly. So yeah, it was.
Your spirit animal of the event. Come fly with Winsurance,
Mhm.
everybody. What an amazing leader you are, and what an incredible organization
Mhm.
Winsurance is. Thank you, Nunu, for that little
Thank
look
you.
behind the scenes there. And I do have a bit of Doesn't Gilda look amazing here? Thank you, Nunu. Doesn't she look amazing? And you'll understand in just a moment why it is she's wrapped up in this way. Here she is, just 19 seconds of video, but it says a lot. Now I understand why Canadians moved to Portugal, she says. I thought there was a bit of volume, but look, she's getting out of the car. A Portuguese goodbye. And that is a Canadian spring, everybody. She she couldn't believe it. As a victory wave in the moment, having made it across the fist in the air. She made it across there. Isn't that incredible? So thank you, Gilda, for sending that in. She's in Canada. Shocked to find out that a Canadian spring has snow involved in it, and she might even be clearing snow as we speak. Have a lovely time over there, Gilda. Should you see this, questions coming in? Let's get those questions to Nunu this evening. He is Sarah Davies here. Sarah. I was hoping you'd be joining us. And Rodolfo Pelicano, of course, as well. Me of Little Faith. We've got other Dream Team members joining us. Let's go to Sarah. It's been quite an exciting day, hasn't it, in terms of world affairs and things that might affect currency, Sarah?
Every day is an
Every
exciting
day,
day,
okay.
Carl.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Just
Every day. It's not April Fool's every day, but
No.
every day is an exciting day. No, obviously, well, I mean, we've talked about the tariffs and the trade wars, and this is obviously just another thing. Again, with the tariffs, the thing is, we've seen, certainly for Americans and buying euros right now, it has become more expensive. We've seen some dramatic movements, 4 to 5%, which, you know, on sort of, you know, say you're buying a house, it's 500,000 euros, you're talking about what, 25, nearly 30,000 US dollars difference. So this is where I say exchange rates can make a difference. It's not just about the price against your bank or on the day. These exchange rates can make a difference to the bottom line of, you know, yes, I've quoted large amounts for a property, but if you're talking about small amounts, paying a lawyer, whatever, the whole thing, you're trying to budget. I know myself moving to Portugal, how much it's going to cost. And it's very difficult when the exchange rates are fluctuating. The only thing that is good in it to bear in mind is if we look back historically. So if we look back historically, really over the last, what, sort of 10, 20 years even, to be honest, you know, yes, we're at 110 now, but we have obviously been better. But in the last, well, between 2005, 2015, those 10 years, we were over 120, up to sort of 140, 160 levels. So actually, if you look historically, we're still at not bad levels, but not as good as we have been. So again, that's something obviously to bear in mind. And also, what's your timeframes? When is it you're looking to move to Portugal? That's the other thing to sort of factor in. And we can buy euros in advance for you, even if you don't have a Portuguese bank account. And it's something just to start thinking about, just to help manage your budget. And the problem is the markets are struggling to forecast, because usually what we forecast on is, although no one has a crystal ball, is sentiment and data.
Yes.
And yes, we'll still work on those, because obviously the tariffs, that will have an impact on inflation and what the Fed or the ECB or the Bank of England do with interest rates. But there's still a lot of sentiment out there. So things obviously Trump comes out and says, Christine Lagarde, that obviously is very difficult at the moment to forecast what they're certainly going to count. And the thing with the tariffs is, it's unknown how, when Trump implements them, how other countries are going to retaliate. As I've said before, you know, you've got extremes where it's not just a case of other countries put on tariffs back, they stop buying those goods, they cut off energy. There are more extreme retaliations, which then obviously hit the US dollar a little bit more. And then how will it filter down? The increase, like tariffs will increase costs, for example, for Americans. Jobs may be lost because of that. So it might happen. I mean, some Americans are saying it's happening now, prices starting to increase. How long will it take for that to sort of filter down? And that may impact the US economy. Obviously, Trump's aim is to make the US economy great again, but it's just going through this process. How long will that take in relation to your move? That's the challenging factor, because if you could do it in a short period of time and the US economy thrives, the US dollar strengthens, that's obviously great for Americans. But is that going to be in the next 6, 12 or 2 years of your move to Portugal? That's the challenge, and obviously.
Yes, thank you for that update. And what I'm especially aware of and keen to address is how stressful that might be for people who want to buy, Americans who want to buy euros, basically, and the fluctuations. And it's a stressful enough business moving anyway, and to have this added dimension is not helpful. And as from our conversations, I think, Sarah, it's fair to say one good way of dealing with the stress and calming things down a bit is to have a chat with you, with one of the brokers, and get a sense of your options based on your personal preferences and circumstances.
Absolutely. And the other things that we've talked about, obviously, is helping with the compliance and the process of moving money that gets overlooked. And also the things that we've talked about that obviously I think Joe highlighted as well, is that we have tools where we can fix the rate. So the benefit of that is if you've got money in a high interest earning account, it can stay there longer. Or perhaps it might take, I don't know, a few months to release the money. Again, you can still take advantage of the rate. Also, if you're doing something on a regular basis, maybe a pension or the passive income, we can fix the rate up to 12 months. And then you can draw down each month. So yes, unfortunately, we can't fix it for the life that you can possibly have on those transfers every month.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, anything we can do to alleviate stress, minimize stress. There are comments in the chat. Things are quite challenging. We have the Premium Lounge in a couple of weeks. It's a chance for people to support each other, reach out to each other as much as it is to celebrate all the wonderful things that we're looking forward to enjoying and are enjoying with the Portuguese culture here, and the forum as well. It's a good place. Now's a really good time to connect with people, find out how they're coping with things, and share your tactics and strategies for doing that. And we're here with you every Thursday evening to check in with as well. Thanks, Sarah, for that. Rodolfo Pelicano from Res and Pelicano, good evening to you.
Hello, Carl. You're seeing me today, huh?
Yes. Oh, wow. How did you do that? That's a nice change.
Yeah.
Great to see you. How are you? Today?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Yes. A lot of fun tonight, as well as the challenges. We're naming a dinosaur. We're talking about the Portuguese Positivity Party. I'll put the link to that in there. How's the world of law looking?
Well, we are anxious to see this new election and see if we'll have new changes to everything. It's really a roller coaster here.
Yes, it is, isn't it? And somebody was explaining to me the backstory of what went on with the Prime Minister, and it was a really difficult and unnecessary situation. But such are the tempestuous times we live in. It hasn't left the Portuguese electoral system alone either, has it? It would appear. But I do notice that the elders, if you like, of Portuguese politics are trying to make this as calm as possible. There are forces that are trying to calm this down, aren't they? Okay, we're having an election, but let's do this as simply and calmly as we possibly can. There are some strong voices in there.
It's true, because they know that this is it doesn't seem, people become like, just a new election again, everything's happening again, but it actually can be very serious right now.
Yes.
Because the changes that have been implemented in 1 year and everything that has changed from the previous government, which was, let's say, in the same line for many, many, many years, more than 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years. And we had the sudden change, not a totally drastic one, but a little change. And now it's a big question mark where we're going. So the older politicians, they can see that this can be a huge problem for the country in a short period of time,
Yes.
So let's wait and see.
Let's see what happens. It's only a couple of months away. It's next month, in fact, isn't it?
It
it's
is.
May.
Yeah.
Is it May the 19th? Was it 18th? 18th,
Yep.
possibly. Okay. So we'll see what happens then. Anything else to report? I noticed that it's all over for the golden visa in Spain, isn't it? However, in Portugal, that makes things a little bit more attractive here. How are things looking from that golden visa?
The golden visa is interesting right now, Carl, because we had that boom when real estate golden visa was still a possibility.
Yes.
And at the end, we had a huge amount of people looking for the last minute applications. Then we had this long period of kind of in the middle of things. Nobody just taking sense of what's going on, what's going to happen, and what are the options. And right now, what we are seeing at the office right now, we have many new clients looking into the golden visa again, and they're looking basically into the options of the investment in funds.
Yep.
And curiously, I had last week, the last 15 days, I had 2 clients from the United States that are requesting information about the golden visa under the cultural scheme, which there's a donation for several different cultural programs that are eligible. And in this case, it's a donation. I mean, they don't put the money on an investment and they get the money back after 5 years. It's really a donation. So it's quite interesting right now.
It is, because that wasn't as great as it sounded when it was introduced. There wasn't a big uptake in that particular version of it, was there?
I mean, people would like to put the money on something that they can have a return later on. And real estate at the time was the best option, because not only the real estate in Portugal is still rising, was rising already at that time. We also had the difference that Sarah can explain very well, the difference in the exchange rate in the past 10 years. I mean, people made money not only with the real estate value but with the exchange rates of the money that they bought the properties 5, 6, 8 years ago.
Yes.
And now they're looking to new options, and this donation thing is quite interesting.
It is, isn't it? Who knew? Who knew? So that is an option. And the preferred one, as you say, because people do want a return on their investment, is the residency through investment via the golden visa. Yes, a way of coming into the country through the golden visa, which does persist in some forms here. Although it's gone on the other side of the Iberian Peninsula, it would appear. We'll see what happens over there, and I'm sure that's all to Portugal's good. Thank you very much, Rodolfo. Anything else you want to share with us from the world of law?
No, I'm okay here.
You're here. Okay.
It's very fun, and I'm glad that you can see me tonight.
I am as well. It's great. Thank you very much. And was there any reason for that? Was it just one of those strange technical things? Suddenly it was okay.
It was actually that night I couldn't put the camera to work, and then the next morning I had to format the whole computer.
Oh, really?
It was a technical issue. Today I have 2 computers, so no problem. If this one fails, I have a second one.
Wonderful. Okay, well, sorry if we had a part to play in the destruction of your computer that night, but you delivered a great webinar, which can be seen again on our YouTube channel anyway. Right, names are coming in for the dinosaur. Let us know if you're coming to Coimbra in the chat as well. What do you look forward to doing in Coimbra? And those all-important questions. Thanks, Miguel, for your first one here. Thank you. And thanks for bearing with us while we meet the team tonight. Hello. We want to move to Portugal around October, November, and we are starting the process now. We both hold multiple passports. My wife holds UK, USA, and Irish. Wow. And I hold a Brazilian and USA passport. We've been living in the US for 45 years. We have a social security income, small UK pension, and I have an online business. Our main concern at the moment is about taxes. We are still confused about taxation on social security and pensions, and also taxation on business income, as we have to file taxes in the US. We plan to do the move as an EU resident, okay, yeah, and with reunification, very good, and not as USA retirees. We don't have Pedro Franco with us tonight. He's somebody you should definitely speak to, Miguel. I don't know, Rodolfo, would you have any comments on that, what you've just heard there from Miguel, or would you rather I feel that towards Pedro Franco?
We know it's Pedro Franco's expertise. I can give some input here. I mean,
thank you.
If you're coming from the US and you're an American citizen, all know that you'll always be collecting your tax back in the US. United States is one of the only countries in the world who will never stop collecting their taxes, regardless where you have your tax domicile. And there's a double taxation agreement in place from the United States and Portugal. And I think she mentioned Brazil as well. There's one in place between Brazil and Portugal also. And there are the rules over there for taxation of social security, pensions, etc. is all over there. So the details, Pedro would be no better. But for example, I know that if you have a pension paid by a government source, like you were a government employee and you have your government pension, according to the double taxation agreement, this would only be taxed in the US, and it probably has been already. So you wouldn't have taxation in Portugal for that portion. But if you have a private pension, then probably it would be taxed a little bit in Portugal. So it's a matter of better consultation, maybe with Pedro, explain the details of your case specifically, the sources of the income, the pensions, where they come from, who are the entities that are paying them, and there will be a tax planning there. But don't be afraid. There's light
It's best
at
to
the end of
find
the
out, yeah.
tunnel.
And there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's good to know, Rodolfo. Thank you. And there you go, Miguel. That's a great start. Reach out to Pedro Franco. And one of the great features of the service is that he can do a three-way call, or maybe more for you with interest in several countries, with the tax representatives in each of those sovereign states, and connect the appropriate professionals together whilst he gives the insight on the Portuguese side here. So I hope that helps for the time being, Miguel. Come back to us with any more questions you've got. Thea, good evening to you. I hope to see you in Coimbra. Correction, reimbursement for what we paid at COOF. Now, I think I've missed a bit of this, and I'm not sure where it's gone. Nuno, did you see the rest of the question, and can you answer that for us, please? Oh, we need you unmuted for that as well.
Sorry. I was telling that I was checking the chat. Could you repeat, Carl?
Yes. Question for Nuno. Okay, I found it now. Zoom tends to shuffle the chat comments.
It was the one about COOF and
Yes.
the one
How
that I
does the
replied.
travel insurance work when you are seen in the emergency room? Do we get reimbursed for the fee from COOF? They said they don't accept travel insurance, being that they are a private hospital. So how would that work?
Yeah, so all the travel insurance policies that I know, they assume that if we need to activate the insurance policy, so if you need, for example, medical care, we need to call to their phone line, and it's a 24/7 phone line, and then they drive us to the hospital or the doctor that are part of their that they have agreements with. Okay, we don't give a lot of attention to this detail, but and in Portugal this is not a thing. But for example, in Africa, this is very important, because when they catch an accidental on their hospitals, we are not allowed to leave the hospital until they agree, because they know that we could have money, and this is a way of taking advantage of the situation. And this is one of the reasons why travel insurers they need to be in the control of the situation always. Okay, to do medical repatriation if is the situation, to move us among hospitals in the same country if we need. But the rule is this: every time that we need to activate the travel insurance policy, we must call to their phone line assistant.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Anything else you want to say on that? And Thea, do you want to add anything to your question, or is that everything for you?
Yeah, I asked Thea to contact me so I can check what has happened, and try to help you with
Oh,
this.
that's wonderful. Thank
Okay?
you. So there you go. There's a
Which
lovely
is the
offer.
insurer and so on and so on.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm going to text my phone number and my email.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you, Nuno. That's in the chat for us this evening. I think we've got a question. Let me just make sure I've got everything over here on Zoom. Get those questions in, please, to me, if you will, over here on Zoom. The premium members of Expats Portugal, if you will. It's a really good reason to be here on a Thursday night and ask your questions directly of the dream team here. I've got people letting off steam about the situation in the US, of course, as well as dinosaur names as well. Oh, another one for you, Nuno. Let me know when you're ready to take another question.
Okay, please.
Okay, from Denise. Question for Nuno. I'm traveling to Portugal and the UK in November. Would an accident policy from your company be better than trying to get one locally? That's in South Africa, I'm guessing, from a logistical and financial perspective. The policies here are extremely expensive once you get past 75. Can you insure Denise from Portugal for a trip to Portugal and the UK?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Would you care to comment? The age of 75 has been mentioned. The policies here are extremely expensive once you get past 75. Will that be similar from your perspective?
For temporary insurance policies, no, we have one solution, one insurer that provide coverage for people over 75.
Great. Okay, a specialism there. Okay, good. Anything else you want to add to that, Nuno? And Denise, obviously, come back to us if you've got any more on that. And La Ronda with a clarification. So, is what Nuno explained about the travel insurance, is that treatment must be pre-authorized in order to be covered? Is that just a clarification there?
Correct. Also that.
Right, very good. Okay, thank you very much indeed for that. Keep those questions coming here, please, from the Expats Portugal Premium member community. Something over on Zoom now. In the absence of Pedro Franco, you might step in if you'd like to, from what you know and experience of this, Rodolfo. Hi, Dream Team. This is from Osama over on YouTube. I wanted to know your opinion about the new changes in the tax regimes of the NHR of the IRS Jovem. Which one do you think is better? So NHR or IRS Jovem? That means nothing to me, Rodolfo. I'm not sure if it does to you or not.
We're talking two different things, totally different things there. The IRS Jovem is the youth IRS.
Okay.
It's a program. It's not exactly a tax benefit, but it's a tax reduction for residents and Portuguese citizens with below 35 years old, if I'm not wrong, 30 or 35. I think it's 35. So there are some tax benefits. There are some tax reductions.
Yes.
The NHR is totally different.
Yes.
The NHR was a program for tax exemptions for those that were bringing their tax domicile back to Portugal, Portuguese that had migrated and are coming back to Portugal, or foreigners moving into Portugal. It was actually a program to attract people to come to Portugal and settle here as their tax domicile, and actually to expand the activities inside Portugal and fomenting the economy in the country. The youth IRS is different. Is for to like give an incentive, a help for those young fellows that starting their lives, and try to reduce the taxation on their income. They need to be dependent on the parents yet. There's a certain requirements that they need to comply with, and once they are complied, they will have some reductions in the tax. It's progressive reductions. After year by year, it changed a little, but it's actually an interesting program. They did this not in the IRS is related to the salary, but they also did a similar program on the youth program for acquisition of real estate. There's also a reduction of taxes there. So it's a movement that the government made to try to attract the younger, starting their careers, recently married, to actually be able to save more money and spend and make the economy run again,
Very interesting. Yeah, and some good work, I think, aimed at younger people in Portugal, and it may help them stay in the country rather than move abroad.
Which brings me back for your first statement, Carl. I mean, with this new elections again and everything changes, see where my point was at the beginning. So this all can go to the drain. I mean, if it's a very different government coming in and they don't agree to all this, everything can change.
Yes, yeah, very good. Thank you, Rodolfo, on that. And yes, the distinction there between the NHR product and the IRS Jovem system. And it's interesting you should mention the NHR began as a possible incentive for Portuguese people to come back. And I met a consultant to the government who'd done some amazing work trying to encourage the Portuguese diaspora to come back to Portugal. And who knows, that might be one of the upsides with some of the things that are going on in the United States at the moment, that some Portuguese people, second and third generations, might be interested in coming back. And it may be that the NHR will be resurrected on that basis as well if the Portuguese government might want to attract them to do so. Very interesting stuff. And so many Portuguese people abroad, of course, and such a wonderful lifestyle if they can come back here and maybe live in the way that they've become accustomed to whilst they've been abroad. That's That's always the big deal, I think, isn't it? They don't always want to leave the new lifestyle that they've created for their family abroad. But we shall see about that. Thank you very much. Questions coming in. Jeannie, a little bit of feedback for you, Sarah. Had a nice conversation with Steve F today just to connect for my future move to Portugal. Now, I note there that that's not a deal, that's not a trade, but it's okay to call your team and just get the ducks in a row, have a chat, and get to know your person at Spartan. Well, let's have you unmute. Well done.
No, absolutely. The thing is all about the relationship that you have with that dealer, and you can call them anytime. So it's not just a case of if you need to make a transaction with us, you can be talking to us months in advance, because you get to know that dealer, they can get to know you, your situation, everybody's unique. What's your time frame? What money do you have available? And you can kind of put a strategy together. But also as well, it's important to talk to us before you leave your home country, not necessarily to use us at that point. It's just to understand who you bank with, what's the processes that they have in place, what do you need to put in place in order to move money once you're actually here in Portugal. Because some clients obviously rent initially, then look to buy property. So maybe it's 12 months down the line, you're looking to move larger sums of money once you're in Portugal. And that's where you encounter more problems. There's restrictions on how much you can transfer each day or per month. Are there documents that you need to sign for extra authorization to move that kind of levels of money? So again, it's just having those conversations with your bank, and we can help you with that before you move as well.
Yeah, so you're very welcome to make the call and get to know the processes and the people working at Spartan FX. Thanks for that, Jeannie. And I'm sure you'll pass that on to Steve as well there, Sarah. Thank you very much. Or should I say the creator of the Cerophosaurus will come. I didn't realize you wanted to be an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Why did you? Okay, all right. Portugal's a great place to go looking for fossils. Should you want to do that at the weekend as a hobby now? Excellent question from Thea about gas and electric. EDP, does EDP have different tiers based on our usage to minimize cost? Now, sometimes there is the question of usage and what level of current you want coming into the house, which tends to throw foreigners coming into the country, especially when they try and make a cup of coffee and dry their hair at the same time. I'm not sure if you're talking about that though in this case there. I think you're talking about bulk discounts. I think we can probably address that as consumers. Nunu, would you have a view on that? Does EDP offer a different tiers based on amount of usage? I'm not sure that they do they?
I'm not sure. I know that they use that they have different contracts based on the kilowatts
Yes.
that we want to have. So the power that we want to have installed at our homes.
Yes.
This I know.
That's the first bit, isn't it? Where you decide the level of power coming in so that you can have more appliances on than just a couple of light bulbs and a kettle, which does throw people because often it gets down rated while the property's empty or somebody's leaving. And if you don't know that, you think you're doing something wrong and all you need to do is go and get it uprated. If your question is about consumer power and buying and getting a better discounts, that probably does come from shopping around. EDP might not be the best. I've gone with a company called Audax on a recommendation. I don't know, you Portuguese folks here, Rodolfo, Nuno, Sarah, of course, as well, having become a consumer of power here in this country. Do you have any tips on providers that offer particularly good deals?
So I tried different suppliers like Endesa and two more. But last year, I had deeply analyzed the costs, and EDP was the cheapest.
Was
So I
it?
have, yes, and now I have everything with EDP.
Now, when Nunu says he's analyzed something deeply, he has analyzed something deeply. He is known as Mr. Spreadsheet. So he will have done he'll have done his homework on this. And now I'm a bit gutted that I've gone to another company. So thanks, Nunu, on that. There you go, Thayer. There's one answer to your question there. I'll come back to you, Rodolfo and Sarah, on your choices. Jose, I think, has some input on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, we found out about this the hard way when we bought
Right.
our new home in Santa Cruz. Being from the States, we were completely foreign to this concept. You either have electricity or you don't.
Right.
And when we moved in here, as we later found out, we were at the 4.6 level of energy. And as I think you mentioned, we went to do the wash and I plugged in my electric car and the lights went out. And we played with that for a couple of days and then called EDP, and they explained to us that we had to specify what level of energy we wanted. And so I said, I'm not familiar with how to do that. This is how big our house is. We have a car, we have a pool, we have a washing machine, dishwasher. And I said, well, there's no real guideline. You can just keep increasing it until the lights don't go out anymore. And so we literally went up to 17.25.
Yeah.
Then we layered it down and layered it down, and we finally arrived at 10.35. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 levels that a residential home can have. And it's up to you to figure out what level you should be at. And it's basically just try it out. And if the lights don't go out, you're good.
And there is a price break on each of those, isn't there? That's why you leveled down, presumably.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that.
Level, the more you pay per kilowatt. But we actually ended up switching because I was exhausted with the EP. So we're now with Gold Energy.
Yeah.
And then we got solar panels. So now my bill is cut in half. So there's the optimal solution for you.
That is such great information. Thanks, Jose. Always helpful on these evenings. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Rodolfo, you unmuted, I think, maybe to talk about suppliers as well.
I was just going to mention that in Portugal, you're free to choose whatever supplier you want. In some countries, you're not.
Yeah.
You need to stick to some. So in Portugal, there is this, you'll be contacted all year long for different supply, Golden Energy, and there's all of these guys will be calling you to select. They will come with very good deals. But since Nuno already has the spreadsheet, I mean, talk to Nuno because you will feel that you're doing a great deal, selecting what they talk to you by the phone, and they are very convincing. But at the end of the day, when you check, it's really not so cheap or so cheaper. Yeah. So I would make like Nuno did, study the thing, And another tip is that you can not only select the power range that you need, but you can select also the time of the day that you most need the electricity. For example, for someone that works all day long out of the house and actually do the laundry at night, things at night, there's an option that you can put for night use also. This is interesting as well.
Very good. That might be something to do with smart metering. Thanks, Rodolfo, on that. Sarah, did you find it confusing when you went to set up your supply? Do you have electricity and gas or just electricity?
Electricity. It's too early, I'd say. I mean, EDP, I have MEO that Debbie said for internet.
It's funny you say you've got Mayo for internet and then you cut out. So maybe that's not a great advert.
Seems to work quite well.
Yeah.
I'm Vodafone.
Sorry.
Well, to be fair, I think we've had some issues in the area.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Mayo. Sorry, I take that back.
I think it's just the area. I blame the weather.
Okay. All right.
I use Vodafone for my phone, but that's because I used Vodafone in the UK. So I'm not sure whether there's better providers. It's what you know a little bit. So it's probably too early. I probably need to review the costs and see then. But next month, on the 7th of May, I've been here 12 months.
My goodness, that's flown by, isn't it?
Mm.
Wow, okay. Well, there's the webinar, My First 12 Months in Portugal with Sarah Davey of Spartan.
Celebration.
That'll be a great evening, actually. Well, congratulations ahead of that, if that's not superstitious and not a Portuguese thing to do. Maybe I should wait until you actually have the 12-month birthday. Go on, Nuno. Nuno's got something to add. Cheers, Sarah.
Let me say that there are two suppliers called EDP.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so EDP commercial, and the other one, I think it's only EDP. I don't know which I have, but keep this in mind. There are two suppliers, EDP. It's the same. but they are different
So,
rates. I don't know why.
oh, okay. So it's the same company, but trading in two different ways.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, that's
Okay.
worth knowing about. Okay, solar fans are speaking up in the chat here. That's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, like I said, I used Aldax. I was told that that was a better deal than EDP. Yeah, another part of it is service. And it was just there. I think you mentioned you were exhausted by EDP. Some people do have do have that experience as well. So there is that customer service part of it as well. Aldax is a pretty good company to deal with, I have to say. If not very sophisticated, they're pretty solid. Oh, and the other thing to mention about that, a first for us, we had an outage here in the house, and I had that terrible moment of looking out across the street to see that neighbours still had their lights on. So Mrs. M immediately blamed me for some sort of clerical error on my part, and I felt really bad about it because we were plunged into darkness. And then my neighbor came out and she too was without electricity. So I was saved at that point. And the relief was just so great for me. But only to discover that there were three houses that were taking power from one of the small boxes in the street. So it wasn't a complete street outage. There was a fried fuse or something because of all this rain, and three houses were out. And you need to get in touch with, I think it's Iredes, isn't it? It's the network. And there is an emergency number which somebody might find tonight or know that could be put in the chat. But there's the network and there's the suppliers. And this was a network problem. The guys came out with their rubber boots and their full-on Bob the Builder construction gear. They fixed it and it was fantastic. And I was off the hook, which was even better. But it can happen that your own supply goes out with the houses around you and not the whole street. And you have that moment. So yeah, the network and the suppliers are separate here in this country as well. Grounds for a festa, says Denise. 12-month Portuversary is a really nice way of putting it as well, Diana. We look forward to sending our happy Portuversary greetings next month. That's superb. Excellent. Debbie says Galp gives me monthly coupons to use at Continent. So there's that as well. And also discounts on Uber and Uber Food. Really good material content for the forum, this, if you're getting deals that you might want to share with other people as well. Jen suggests, Astrid, that we might have a webinar on this. If we could get like a money-saving expert, there might be one in Portugal, like a Martin Lewis kind of character who does the comparisons. It'll be great to have a webinar with that sort of person. So great suggestion there, Jen, as well. We've got to get to these dinosaur names at some point, but I want to make sure I don't overlook any important questions from our audience this evening. Aside from Nunu's spreadsheet, thanks, Nunu. Is there a consumer organization that can advise? Amazing for Alberta, Canada. There is a website where you plug in your details and they show you which suppliers may be most appropriate. I think there is a Portuguese comparison site, is there not, Nuno?
So we have a consumers association or company called DECO,
Right.
DECO. Nevertheless, I don't rely much on them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to give you one example. So for several years, like 5 years or 6 years in a row, DECO was advising Liberty as the best insurer for property insurance policies. And they were trying to do a deal with Liberty to sell Liberty's insurance policies. But the CEO, an amazing guy, already retired, he denied because he understood always that the function of DECO was do a comparison among what the market offers instead of mixing interests, especially economic interest.
Right.
Guess what's happened on the next year?
Right.
It just disappeared from the comparison among what DECO did.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks like there is a comparison site, but it might be influenceable.
Yes,
Okay, all right.
definitely.
Let's say they're influenceable and maybe not in completely objective there. Debbie had someone knocking on the door. Rodolfo made a very good point. You will get people calling you, and you'll get people knocking on your door trying to get you to switch suppliers, and they are very good salespeople. A guy knocked on my door this morning trying to sell me a different power company, says Debbie. I didn't chat with him, wasn't sure if it was a scam. If in doubt, don't do it. And you know, if you're feeling you're being pressurized, there's really no need for that. You could repent at leisure with that sort of thing, or regret that at leisure with that. Thank you very much, Laronda. Sounds like my neighborhood. Some of us on a different grid. Yes, beware of that. With the experience that I had there. Thank you very much for oh, and Diana says that wind power will be good at the moment. That's for sure. That's for sure. Not so much solar though, it has to be said. Portugal right now. Now there was another question that I was looking for here. It was about biometrics. I don't know if you picked up on that, Rodolfo, and if you're able to comment on that. I'm struggling to find it now. Did you see that one, Rodolfo, over there?
The one about D7?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that one. So it was Sanjay, if I'm not wrong.
Sanjay, indeed. I found
Yeah.
it. We're waiting for biometrics appointment for the D7 visa. Is there any guidance on how best to get the appointment before the expiry of the visa?
So the first thing there is the visa won't expire.
Right, okay.
This is a very common mistake there, or confusion, because when you get the visa stamped on your passport, it's valid for only 120 days. But this doesn't mean that that visa is expiring. That 120 days is the come into the country and activate the visa.
Right.
So usually the D7 visa comes with a two-entry. It's a two-entry visa. It should be written, if you check your passport, Sanjay, on the visa, it should say two entry somewhere. The first entry must be done within that window of 120 days, which is the validity of the visa, which is actually not. This means that that visa is activated. So even after those 120 days, if you need to go out and come back to the country, there's a second entry over there. So you have one more already on the visa. In the past, when we did not have these confusions with AIMA, former CEF,
yeah,
one would arrive to Portugal and the biometrics appointed would be within 1-2 months, not longer than that. So this was enough for a person come with a two-entry visa and in a couple of months have the appointment. Right now, this big mess that it is.
Yeah.
So your visa is still valid, and if your visa did not come with a internet address, which is actually an appointment, some visas already come with that. If yours does not have, my suggestion right now would be either talk to Gilda's team, because they do this all the time. Or if you want to try your luck by yourself, there is an email address. I can write it over here, and you can send a request for an appointment showing a copy of your visa, stating your details, and requesting an appointment for the residence permit to be issued.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the only thing that can be done right now.
Well, that's really helpful nonetheless. Sanjay, let us know if that's helpful to you there. Really good information. Thanks, Rodolfo, for stepping in. Jose, do you have something to add to that as well?
Yeah, I just go back a little bit. I think Sarah mentioned she has Mio, or someone did.
Yes.
So you may know if you use Mio, you actually get Mio points. So for every euro that you are charged every month, you get a Mio point. And those Mio points can be used for tickets to concerts, if you want to buy a new phone or a television. It will show you on your statement how many Mio points you have every month. So I didn't know that until I went to the Mio store just to ask a question, and it goes, oh, you've got 1,500 Mio points. Do you want to use them? So just FYI. And on a related topic, because I think Debbie mentioned she gets some coupons from Gal. A lot of the shops here have affinity cards, and so I've got one with everybody, with Pingo Dos, with Continente, with Galp. And my last trip to Pingo Dos, I spent 35 euros, and I used my affinity card. I got a coupon for 5 euros off my next purchase of 30 euros or more. A coupon for buy one ticket to the Lisboa Oceanarium and get one free.
Wow.
A coupon for 30 euros off of a Pestana hotel stay.
Very good.
On for 50 euros off a vacation trip of 5 nights or more with a brew. So these things can really add up if you're someone that uses them on a regular basis. So just be aware of that. It doesn't hurt and it doesn't cost anything.
And how easy is it to get the card?
Oh, you just sign up and
Yeah.
they'll give it to you usually right there if it's one of the supermarkets. For Solero, I had to wait like a month and a half and it came in the mail. But most of these places, you just sign up. You will typically need your NIF and in some cases your passport because you have to fill that information out when you initially request it. But if you have that with you, they'll give you the card right there in most cases.
Great. That's great. And that's the other question that throws foreigners at the counter, isn't it? Contribuent.
Yeah.
And the other one is Intermarché Cartantin. And like, what? No, I don't have the card. But if you take José's advice, you will get the cards, and they can be very helpful. And José will be putting his vouchers on the community forum for sale at half price after the show. There's a thing we could trade those coupons, couldn't we, on the forum? José,
That's right. I accept MBWay and Multibanco, so thank you.
We'll need to get very good. You're so Portuguese. We'll need to get a Pingo Dos card tomorrow morning, says Diana. That's really great advice. Thanks, Rodolfo, for the email address there. Sanjay, thanks very much for the clarification. Can you share the details of the emails and the organizations who can help? Yeah, that'll be EI that you'll find in our business directory, Sanjay, our preferred helpers in that department. Gilda normally here, or somebody from the team, but Gilda's away, as I said. Also, the biometrics are delayed. Can we use the visa beyond the 2 entries if we need to travel on an urgent basis? What would you say about that, Rodolfo?
Yes, but to make sure that you fly directly from Portugal. I mean, yes, but don't take this like I'm going to do this all the time. It's always a risk. But the Portuguese authority at the airport, they know that what's going on with AIMA, former CEF, and they know that the government has issued a decree law extending the validity of all expired visas and all expired residence permits until the end of June this year right now. So if you come straight from the US or from another country outside of the European Union straight to Portugal, when you get to the immigration office and you have your visa there, they will understand. You will explain that you were here, you traveled, you take some evidence that you have your house here or something like this to support, and they will let you go. But if you decide to travel, like, for example, from the US and make a connection, I don't know, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Maybe when you get there to the immigration, because the immigration will be done there, they are not aware of the extension and everything, and you may have problems.
Yeah, that's really helpful advice. Thank you so much. Quickie for you again from YouTube here, Rodolfo, and some more advice. This consumer advice tonight has been brilliant. I found that Auchan fuel stations have the cheapest fuel per litre is Brendan's recommendation there. And you have a question as well, Brendan. What is the best way to go about requesting a bond in Portugal to buy property if you have residence in Portugal? Do you understand what that question is, Rodolfo? I don't. Requesting a bond in Portugal. What would that mean when buying a property?
I don't know. I don't understand as well.
It's a different jargon there. I think we've run out of time, Brendan. Bring that back to us next week, or reach out to possibly Casa Portuguesa when it comes to buying a property or renting here in Portugal.
Drop an email to me. We can chat and I can try to help. I'll put my email here.
Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated. And that just leaves time, I think, to name the dinosaur. I think possibly the best name that came up tonight was the letter openersaurus. Of course, Sarah, it should be named after you when you go back into archaeology part-time. But the letter openersaurus on account of the shape of its tail. Excellent suggestion there, Debbie. Thank you, Dream Team. A message from Connie. The monthly online social is this Saturday, the 5th at 8 p.m. Portugal time. I am so delighted to be meeting you, Connie and Hank, I think, in Coimbra. I don't think we've met in real life, and that's the case with other people here. So really looking forward to being in Coimbra. See you then. Don't forget the online social with Connie and Hank this Saturday evening. Over to you, Astrid, for any final announcements.
I think that's it, Carl. There's a lot going on in the calendar, so please go in there and take a look. We are almost finalised the details of our next meetup. So after the Coimbra one this weekend, the follow one in June, we are going to the Tavira in the Algarve, and hotels selected, food selected. We're just waiting for our cultural event to be arranged. So hopefully we'll have some more news for you about that next week.
Very good. Okay, there it is. The letter openersaurus. Very good. Or AKA the Cerasopherus, I think, as well. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated, Dream Team. And Jose, extra content from you as well tonight. Much appreciated. And for all your wonderful questions.